Good morning. I prepared a little video just to show you, to go over the concept of synthesis, which is the process that you should be working with for doing your research report. Okay. I looked up the word in the dictionary. So the first definition says that synthesis is the composition or combination of parts or elements as to form a whole. So basically, that's what you're doing. You're composing something new by combining different parts from all your sources, all your different notes that you are taking. You're combining it into a new whole. I'm going to skip down to definition C, which says the combining of often diverse conceptions into a coherent whole. So this goes a little bit more into showing you that your sources could have like an original idea and an original purpose, but your new work, your new research paper is going to be a coherent whole. So what we looked at, so look at all sorts of sources that could be diverse, but you in your head are going to process it into something that's coherent. And we saw the word coherent also. Coherent means that it makes sense. It makes a new sense. So you're having all these diverse things and making them into one new thing. I think the best definition, and it's the better example to see more or less what we're doing, is definition B, which says the production of a substance by the union of chemical elements, groups, or simpler compounds, or by the degradation of a complex compound. And what I want you to see with this is, for example, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process where plants take sunlight and water and nutrients from the ground and they turn it into plant. Okay, you don't see in the plant little bits of sunshine and little bits of water and little bits of nutrients. No, it's a whole new thing. So it's not photo summary, it's not photo collage, it's photosynthesis. And that's what you have to be doing with your work. Like when you eat, you're not part hamburger and part smoothie. You are new. You're changing all that into something new and coherent, a new coherent whole. Okay, and that's your research paper. So I'm going to give you, for example, what could be happening in your research. Okay, so I have here your sources, and here are the topics. Okay, so let's say this topic has a little bit about aspect number 1 and about aspect number 2. This one has about aspect number 3 and about aspect number 1, and your other source has aspects of 2 and 3. Then you also have heard different things. Let's say you have heard things about number 1, and then you saw a video. I know that's not what TVs look like anymore, but you saw a documentary about number 3, and then you talked to your uncle or your neighbor, and he told you a lot about number 2. Okay, so then you take all that information together. Okay, so this is what's in your head, and maybe this is a little bit common knowledge. If you're using like textually, remember literally ideas from any of these two, you're gonna have to cite them. Okay, and then you take all the information together, all the ones that you heard, and you put them together. Okay, number 1, but also with your own personal commentary. Number 2, you take all your 2s together and you put them to, all right, 2 with your personal commentary, and 2 and personal commentary, and 1 personal commentary, and you take the same thing with all number 3s, and then this is your paper. Okay, a combination of your own ideas with information that you have found from different sources and citing your sources. I don't know. It should make a little sense, I know. Okay, so if you think you have the idea, you can go ahead and stop the video. I'm going to show you an example right now that is from 2nd grade. It's a project that my son had to do last week. And just to show you that it's really a simple process and that anybody can do it. Now my son, because he has me for a guide, but his assignment was to make a presentation about his favorite public servant or public authority. So his class, this was for social studies class, and he was looking at the topic of the class was public authorities. So they were looking at things about like the mayor and what the mayor does, and the president, okay, all these public authorities, and they reviewed public servants, because I think public servants you see like in first grade or kindergarten. Public servants are people who work in the government and they provide a public service. So when you think about public servants, you think about like firefighters and police officers and doctors that work in the public sector. Now, my son, I think like almost any kid, he wants to be a vet when he grows up. Okay, so he loves veterinary science, and so he decided to do his presentation about vets. Now, when you look at public servants, you don't see, and this was in Spanish, you don't see a vet there. You see the mailman, a soldier, right? But you do see doctors. So he went and he looked for information about vets, and most of the information that he found about vets was for private vets, because that's for children, especially, that's the information that's going to come. It's people that take care of your sick dog or your sick cat. But that information was useful in the sense that, okay, you can see what a vet does, which was part of his presentation, but his presentation was for public servants. So, so he had to synthesize. He looked up information for vets. We found very, very little information, at least information appropriate for second grade, about vets in the public sector. But we read it, and he figured it out. And then we looked at public servants, and then he did his combination. So if you want to see the end result, I'm going to link it below, but that's what he did, okay? Well, he only had two concepts like that he had to synthesize: veterinarians as public servants. So I hope it's clear, and just remember that that's what you have to do. You are looking up all your resources, but in the end, you're going to have to synthesize. You're going to have to make something new. You have to make like your plant from the sunlight and the nutrients and the water. Okay, hope it's clearer.